Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading session. Looks like a few of you came out to see what's left of the carnage that was Friday's trading range. Um, with the whole British referendum vote on Friday and all the kerfuffle that caused, Monday's session is going to be the real interesting one to see how the markets respond to all this news now that they've had a few days to absorb all this information. Hey, good morning, Derek. Nice to see you in the room this morning. All right, let's take a look here. I'm following the NASDAQ. I've also got gold and crude oil up, so feel free to ask for any market which is of interest to you. But you can see here in the overnight, so the North American markets closed up here around the 42.60 mark. Little bit of a hiccup as London opened, and then the market took a little bit of a move lower, and we're opening with about a 30-point gap. It's only a few minutes into the session, so it's hard to say whether the market's going to try to get into that gap or not. Right now, we've actually got well, technically it's no longer a green bar sell because the band has flipped over to the bullish side. Some of you may have seen this a little bit like a bear flag and break down to the downside. We'll see. First couple minutes trading, always a little bit difficult in the day as you try to gauge which way the market is likely to go. I almost have a feeling that in light of Friday's massive move lower, we may be in for more of a trading range type day today. All right, here's the first micro-macro cross signal on the hawk. I may throw a onesie on that just to see whether the bear's got anything going on here. I need to cover the trade above the high in case we see a test of the extreme, in case we see a retest of the high. That term test of the extreme is something that you'll hear me mention from time to time. And all it means is that before we see a market change direction, it very often retests the high or the low, in this case the high. We get that failure, and then we get the market breaking support and heading the other direction. A lot of you will recognize these as head and shoulder formations, or 1, 2, 3s, or ABCs, or whatever you want to refer to them, M's and W's. They've got different names. They all do the same thing. So here we first micro macro cross tightening up a little bit, and now it's technically become a macro pullback. The macro pullback signal occurs when the micro line, that's this thin one, changes color, but everything else stays in sync. Okay, we've retreated back to the macro line. If they're going to give us a reaction, it's likely going to happen now, and now we're into yellow bars. So the hawk still running away from us, and like I say, it may be that we're going to see a sideways trading day today. It may not be that the bulls can muster a full rally, but a sideways session would not be out of the realm of possibility. Working a late filter entry here on the Falcon. Now, with the late filter entry, what's important here is that the filter goes out of sync and comes back into sync. You see, there it is. Filter came back into sync. It's essentially the same trade. Oops, little bad boy ran away on me. Let's try it below the low. Essentially the same signal as we were following on the hawk. And here too, if you choose, you could, because it's just a single, and if you want to see how far they might go, you can delete your profit objective, just in case it turns out to be a significant run lower. As I said, stops need to go at least above this high. This does tend to be a high probability signal, and I guess we'll see now whether the breakout of this trend line is going to be more influential than the breakout of that trend line. So we've got a bearish break and a bullish break. All right, if they come back down here and challenge the lows again, that'll be a good time to bring our stops in. We've already got a little bit of a double top type thing happening here. There we go. Okay, so let's bring our stops in. If they reject the lows one more time, they're very likely going to run these little itty bitty swing highs, and that'll be a good time to get out. Take a look at the range on our support and resistance lines though. Oh my gosh, those ranges are huge. Good morning, Jim. Jim shooting some advanced decline numbers our way. We got 500 on the buy and 2,200 on the sell, but don't forget there is that opening gap to the downside. That's going to skew the numbers a little bit to the bearish side, and might as well engage our stops. I'll start with the ATR. So what we're looking for now is, since we've broken here, we're looking for that retest that's going to come. So the market breaks, it should retest, and then if the sellers truly have control, we should continue lower. This bar here, I can't believe that's the only retest we're going to get on this. Jim says the DAX broke the trend line. Was that a bullish or a bearish break, Jim? So here comes the buying again. Oh, a bear break, he says. Okay, so this is now the support on the overnight lows. The buyers that were buying in down here in the overnight are showing up, trying to support that buying activity around the 42.18, 42.20 area. We've got a support line at 42.12, which would make for a dandy profit target. And I might not press my luck. I'll buy back if the market gets down to 42.13. Before stopping me out, that is. No! See the width on this candle here? That's all those buyers. The buyers controlled the bar here for a moment. We'll see how serious the sellers are about pushing at this price level, or whether they're going to let the market recover so that they can sell at a higher price. So those late filter entry signals, they're definitely worth watching, especially when they come a little bit earlier in the trend. If the market's been moving for a while and then all of a sudden you produce a late filter entry signal, they tend not to be quite as reliable. Or I shouldn't necessarily say that. They are still reliable. You should still take them, but you may have to run a little bit more of a stop as the market may be inclined to bounce around a little bit. All right, so we got a little bit of a break here on this itty-bitty swing that occurred. Buying is becoming a little bit more aggressive. Come on, get down there. You know you want to. And you can see by the wicks on these bars that the buyers are really trying to recover here. Somewhere. What do we have in open profit? Oh, that's significant. Could always just hop out. Just hit that close button. Let's see what the parabolics are doing. Parabolics are a little bit more aggressive. I'll go with those in case the market tries to back up on me. There we go, wrong button. If the sellers take this bar, it's almost certain we'll see 42.12. There we go. Come on. It's only a couple more ticks. You can do it. There we go. Hooray for us. That's a nice way to start the day. Okay, well, thanks for coming out, folks. See you later. That's not a bad start to a Monday. It's when you can combine those high probability signals with the early momentum, especially it seems like during the summer months now that kids are out of school. A lot of traders are going to be taking summer holidays. The markets might tend to get a little bit quiet. But even if that trade had not worked out, let's take a look at this trade one more time. So we're looking at the high probability signal. We've got two signals overlapping here. We've got our trend change signal. So the trend line changes color. The market goes down, comes up, comes down, produces our signal. And it's also combined with a late filter entry signal. So the filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. Very important. It has to come back into sync. So initially we set up the trade to look like this. So even if the trade had gone south on us, the amount that we lost would still be an amount that we could afford. It was capped at 2% of our capital. So if you're trading a smaller account, you may have to dial it up to 3% or even 4%, but anything less than 5% is usually considered prudent. And then prices came down, prices came up, and they headed lower. Now at this point, when they were getting down here to challenging the lows again, and they get down here, if they bounced at this point, then the sellers would no longer have control. The signal would be a false signal, and the market would likely rally at least to the high. So that's why we rolled our stops down there. So effectively cutting our risk, it looks like approximately in half. So now we've got about $120 at risk. So even though we started with 240 at risk, now we have 120 at risk, which should be very palatable loss for most of you. And then the market, because it was just single, I decided to let it run out just in case it did have some momentum to it. And it came down here to our secondary support line, where we're now seeing a little bit of a reaction. And actually we just produced a trend change signal to the upside, which also happened to be a late filter entry signal. So once again, the filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. The trend line never changes color. Because this is counter trend now, if you try to take this signal, I would probably just take it with a single contract, and I would definitely take it on target. So looks like it traded high enough to hit the break even. That's the good news. The bad news is it's just kind of a tick shy of the profit objective, which would be a shame. And if it dips any lower than this, you'd end up getting tagged at break even. So when the market seems to have a direction on the day, be careful about flipping on your direction. So it started off bearish, it paid off to the bear side. It's not to say it won't rally, it's just you need to be a little bit cautious about those rallies. Let's take a look here at the Raptor. The Raptor we had, well, it was not as clear, but we had the cloud crossover signal. About the same time that Falcon signal was printing, and we also had that nice follow through there. And here we printed the soft edge buy signal on the Raptor. We're kind of expecting that now to move here into the hard edge at 42.25. That would be the target for the Raptor trade. But again, if the market seems to be bearish, don't be too quick to buy. Yeah. Tony says, enough with the commentary. Let's get to the important stuff. What's the area code for Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan? Yes, the phone prefix for Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan is 446. That's the alternate settings for our DTS tools. Okay, now it almost looks as though we're trying to get sideways again. Oop, got a first micro macro cross here on the hawk that I missed out on. Some of you are probably looking at this first micro macro cross, and it's the same thing. You know, you're looking at the buy signal, and you're saying, well, Eric says it's a high probability buy signal, which it is, but don't forget the whole context of your chart, right? If you're going to take this trade, you've got to risk it down below here. And the market promptly failed on the signal and is heading the other way. Now you're getting a red bar buy signal. This is almost like the last ditch effort of the buyers to recover the market. These red bar buys, green bar sells tend to develop near the end of a trend. So you could roll your stop at this point. So instead of risking 225, you might end up risking about, I don't know, 150. and then the market starts to unwind, and had you kept your stop deep enough, you'd still be working this trade. Ooh. See, so that's why it's important to keep your stop below these lows. Yeah. Sideways. Well, I'm not liking these yellow bars that keep cropping up here in the hawk. The Raptor found its target here, the hard edge, after some serious sweat. Serious heat on this trade. Okay, we're making yet another higher swing low. Let's see if there's another soft edge buy signal. I don't know if I want to buy that. If you're the adventuresome type, there is a soft edge buy signal here on the Raptor. You could look to buy in here. You probably would want to cover below the lows and hope that the market's going to try to break the top end of this trading range. And there they are at the top end. If we get the breakout, we should get the cloud crossover as well. Right, so now they're breaking out. We would be looking for them to retrace, get some support out of this cloud, come back with a buy signal, and that would be our buy opportunity. It was probably enough there that you could get your first profit target though. Andrew says, your Raptor looks different than mine. He says, my hard edge is reading 42.21. Do you have the double band on yours, Andrew? It could just be, let's see, how many days do I have loaded? I've got 10 days on mine, so I think that's the default. I'm running the 24/5 session, not the 24/7 session. You shouldn't worry if your charts look a little bit different than mine. Sometimes, a few nanoseconds in the data will make the data print a little bit differently. It's really not a deal breaker. What we're looking at is we're looking at how the price itself is moving, right? So whether it says the hard edge is 44.20 or 44.21, that really doesn't matter. We would anticipate the market to hit the hard edge and give us a reaction, which is what we're seeing at this point. What bothers me right now is that this is definitely a sideways trading range. Yeah, Andrew says I've got the 24/7 data. That might make the difference. All the 24/7 does is it includes the few hours on the Sunday morning Globex. Nobody really trades that. Well, I shouldn't say that. Somebody trades it, but you don't need it. So I just go with the 24/5 session. Yeah, I think you're right, Jim. Jim says the volatility is starting to wind up a little bit here. As the buyers try to hold this support area and the sellers trying to knock them down. We got a couple signals here on the hawk. Again, the first micro macro crosses, yes, high probability signals. There's the first micro macro cross right there. Stops, gotta go up there. And I would probably just run a single given all this sideways trading that we're seeing. It's a mess. All right, let's take a look here. Andrews says still having some issues. Okay, so one of my clouds is 12 and my other Raptor cloud is 8. So that could make for a slight difference as well. Yeah, maybe Jim. Jim says the DAX looks like it's trying to hold on to a triple bottom. Could be a good buying opportunity. This market is deadlocked right now, just between 42.25 and 42.12. I would suspect that the buyers are going to try to fill that gap, which is making me a little reluctant to sell. But at the same time, this market is in a full-blown downtrend. So if I produce a signal near the bottom end of the trading range, or just on the other side of the trading range, I might give it a go. Just look at all these yellow bars printing practically on the same price. Looks like around 42.18 is skewering these prices right here. Oh baby, this is going to be something where when this lets go, okay, here come the buyers. They're going to try pressing the top end again. Here, we'll watch this on the Raptor. There's the buy signal. I'm going to throw my stops in below the lows. We'll need to give it a little bit more room than that, but there we go. And now I've got my fingers crossed. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at higher lows. We're looking obviously at a trading range. And whenever the market is at a trading range, well, guess what? Breakouts tend to fail. The market tends to break out the top and then reverse back to the bottom, break out the bottom, reverse back to the top. But it's been in here for a little while. There's been a lot of activity, and I'm hoping that we're going to get a little bit of a move here. We just got up, hit our break-even trigger. Come on, you stinkers. Don't turn around just yet. Get up there. Come on. Here, we'll give you a little nudge. Give you a little push with the mouse. There you go. Get up there. Come on. Don't you dare tag me there. Get going. Come on, get going. Oh. Ooh, that's... Ooh. All right. Well, we're getting the cloud crossover signal. So they're coming into the cloud. And there the signal's falling apart. Okay, so we took a break even on that trade. It was worth trying. And now the market's falling back into the trading range. So they're not quite ready to break out yet, it seems. Or they tried the top end of the channel. Now they're going to try the bottom end of the channel. Jim says his Geiger counter looks like crap. Yeah, it's all over the map. But they're pretty evenly balanced, you see. There was that buying spike, and I thought that that would be enough to push the buyers through, but it wasn't. And now they're pretty even again, back here to the bottom end of the trading range. Okay, we've got our warning dot. So what I'm doing here is if they broke the top end and failed, in other words, did not continue to rally, if they come now to the bottom end, they should try to break out there, and no, they're not. Yeah, we got ourselves a wicked trading range today, folks. Stops are going to have to be massive. Okay, we'll just go back here to the Raptor. I see we have a comparable signal on the Hawk already and one brewing on the Falcon. What I should do is I should perhaps just go in with a single. Okay, where's my signal? There it is. All right, so the signal engaged. We got a little bit of slippage, and what we're looking at is a terrible sideways trading range like this. We broke the top. The breakout did not continue. The market comes down here. Now it's trying to break the bottom, and we'll see whether the bottom breakout continues. Oops, I guess I'd better get a stop in play. And yes, I need to run a monster stop just to start. Just a monster stop to start. Yeah, you got that right, Derek. Derek says it's a good day to hang at the lake. Yeah. I think a lot of traders are taking the Monday off because of Friday. Wow. I don't know if Tony's kidding or if he's letting me know here that Yellen canceled a meeting. And speculation because the market's so messed up in such turmoil. Oh, Tony's serious. Sometimes it's hard to tell with you, Tony, especially via the chat window. You don't get those inflections. So that should be good for adding a little instability to the market. So what I'm doing at this point is I'm just looking for a good reason to roll my stop. And I'm almost thinking this retest of the low is going to be as good a reason as any. If it fails to break, then it's likely to get back inside this trading range. And unless I want to try to sweat the whole range, I should just take an early stop out. Okay, there we go. We'll go now with the ATR stop. It's a little bit more aggressive. Come on, you guys. Leaving me hanging for a tick? There we go. So we hit the break-even trigger now, and hopefully we'll see the market tail off from here. Where's the next stop? Next stop on the support and resistance suite is, oh my gosh, 41.87. That's huge. Market's gonna give us a hiccup here at 4,200. And there's no point in being greedy, right? What are we doing so far? Yeah, that'll be all right. Little $200 swing to the downside. So it's looking likely that 4,200 is going to be our next stopping point. And we'll make it easy on them. We'll go 4,200 half. If they get down to 4,200, I could see the buyers really starting to dig in their heels, though. Ooh, this bar's got a lot of activity. Oh, I should be following the mid-cap. Tony says the mid-cap, that's the EMD, for those of you unfamiliar with that market. It's the S&P 400. Tony says the mid-cap's behaving nicely, mostly with measured moves. That's great. Measured move, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with the term, is usually something like this. Like you say, if the market went down this far, then you can say, okay, on the next leg lower, it's going to go down that far. So you can see that 4,200 would be a measured move of that move lower. There's different ways to measure moves, but that's a very simplistic one. Yeah, we're taking a lot of heat here. Come on. Come on. I'm down here. Come and get me. If I were a buyer, I don't know if I'd be buying at 42.05 and 42.04. I think I'd be holding out for 4,200. Okay, so now we're getting closer to what I think is going to be support for this market, so I'm going to protect a little bit more profit with my parabolic stops. Yeah, like Tony says, big round numbers. This habit of the market to respond to round numbers, again, is nothing new, but it was really brought home to me by a trading friend of mine, Tom Loge, who liked to trade the 30-year bonds. Well, he didn't just like to trade them, he ran a $30 million bond fund. So he was a big-time bond trader. And Tom knew that the markets like to respond to the whole numbers and to the halves. Bonds, if you've ever traded them, can be a little bit confusing because they trade in increments of 1/32. Whoever thought of that, I don't know, but that's how they trade. So a lot of traders shy away from the bonds because of those 30-second values, but Tom only ever concentrated on the double zeros and the 16s. So double zeros being the whole number and the 16s being the half. The S&P will do the same. It will respond to the double zeros and the half, but of course the half is only 2 ticks in the S&P, so it makes it less valuable. But you'll see the same thing in markets like crude oil, where $45 will tend to be more influential than 46 or 46.21. 45.50, 55.60, 65.70. It's just like when we're kids. Like, keep it simple. Got to keep the math simple. Us traders are not too smart. Okay, so let's get those stops in now. I got an itty bitty wick here, and I just don't want to lose much more of this profit. Again, I'm anticipating, come on, come and get me. I'm anticipating 4,200 to offer some support. I'll give it the width of this bar, even though, I could just pop out with profit here. Where are we? There we go. Hooray for us. Okay, so let's see now if they do anything at 4,200. In the stock indices like the NASDAQ, you'd be interested in numbers like 4,200. 4,210 will do something, but 4,200, 4,225 maybe, 4,250. 4,300, so on and so forth. Momentum definitely slowing a little, but we are about not quite an hour into the session yet. I was going to point out this first micro-macro cross signal at the same time we were getting that raptor signal. So you had a nice opportunity there as well in the hawk. And I do believe the falcon also produced a signal. Yes, they did right here. Nice move lower on that one. And the eagle, not to be left out, gave us a dandy little green bar sell. So we got signals across the board. That's always nice to see when everything is in sync. All right, so let's see what they can do with this now, if anything. See, there's a little bit of a hiccup. We actually produced a yellow bar here in the hawk. Filter has already flipped here on the falcon. Might be another late filter entry signal. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, and it is too. Doggone it. I didn't want to take another trade so close to the last one, so close to 4,200. Well, you know, if you're apprehensive about a trade, as I am on this one, you can do the second push entry where you let the signal engage and then you let the bar retreat as it is now, and then you would enter below the low of that bar, or in this case, for another tick, you could enter below the little swing low that's there. Problem I'm having with this trade is, where in the world am I going to cover this? There's not a whole lot of structure here. This is making for a difficult trade decision. Or you could just let the trade manager tell you, Eric, you can't afford that trade. Maybe you need to let this one go. Thing is, it is a high probability signal. It's probably going to work out. I'll just put that on there to follow it. I'm not liking that the legs are getting a little bit shorter. They're not as well defined here. Let me see if you can see them better on the hawk, maybe, where we had, you know, big leg here, decent sized leg here, decent sized leg here, but then you see how our momentum is kind of fading, and see how it's also starting to drift sideways. Now that's not to say we have to get a reversal here. However, it does make it look like the downside momentum is drying up a little bit, and or the buying momentum is getting stronger. So here we're going to get a green bar sell signal on our hawk. And the green bar sell signal, as you know, tends to develop near the end of a trend, and it is a two-way signal. You can either trade it with trend, or you can trade it the failure of the signal. So the signal hasn't printed yet, and it's not going to. But you could set up to buy that signal on a failure as well as short it. And I may throw a onesie on here to the upside. There's, oh, no. Don't have the complete signal yet. We've got the warning dots, but the macro line is still out of sync. Let's see if we're getting anything resembling a soft edge buy here on the we're working a possible trend change here on the Falcon. Darn it, yellow bar spoiled my first micro-macro cross. Oh, Jim's going to hop in. He's going to buy some. He says the YM is looking bullish, as is the DAX, so he's going to take a hop on the signal, probably taking this soft edge buy signal right here. Raptor going to come back with another signal. There's the soft edge buy, a secondary signal. And let's see, we might try that one. All right. And we need to cover below the lows. Darn it, the hawk didn't, that yellow bar spoiled my first micro-macro cross. I was looking for that buy opportunity. And we got a buy signal here on the Falcon as well. So if you're currently short the Falcon off of this late filter entry, oh, and see what I mean about the late filter entry coming late in the trend? We don't know that this is the end of the trend, but we've had the market make a decent move lower and produce 1, 2, 3, 4 pullbacks. That's starting to get a little bit tired, I think. But how when they develop late in the trend, they can be a little problematic. High probability signal, yes. No structure here, so wherever you place your stop is a little bit of a guess game. But if you are currently short on that late filter entry signal, if this bar closes lower, you may consider bringing your stops in here above 42.12. Oops, I gotta disengage that. I gotta roll my stop down here. There we go. I did not want my stop to roll quite so quickly. You see, if you're expecting a change in direction, you really got to give the market some room. I know it's no fun, but these things, the markets rarely turn on a dime. Oh, come on. So back here now to 4,200. The buyer's trying to make a stand. Once again, if you were short on your Raptor trade, let me highlight that for you. So let's say you set it up something like this to start. Good spot to start bringing your stops in. You may even consider going above this bar right here at 42.04, because if the market fails at this point, it's probably going to take a run at the highs. And what happened? Did I get tagged? Oh, doggone it. They just dipped low enough to tag me. Good thing I just went in there with a single. Jim says the ticks were a negative 1100. That means everything was oversold. You would have thought we would see a little bit of a rally out of that. Yeah, today's going to be a difficult day, though. Jim says it looks like the bank index is trying to firm up. We're going to get a bunch of curveballs today. The market trying to set us up with something that looks promising and then take it away and go the other way. See here on the Geiger counter, we're very active on the buy side, and don't tell me that my stop was just a couple of ticks too tight. And here they come with more sell signals. So I broke my own rule today where I took that buy signal. Usually what I do is if the market is paying off in one direction, in this case to the short side, I'll concentrate on sell signals. I'll try to avoid those buy signals. Because as they say, a bear market knows no support and a bull market knows no resistance. I think it's safe to say we've got a bear market today. So here on the Hawk, we had a first micro-macro cross, a macro pullback, and a 4-arrow consolidation, all print within the same pattern. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Ryman says he's been following the cloud regarding the trading direction. So if the cloud is bearish, he tends to be bearish. Look for sell signals. That's a good call. We might be on the back burner here for a little bit until we get something decent happening. We've got, the downtrend. I missed that signal there, so I'm not going to chase it now. So a little bit more sideways-ness. It's hard to believe that the buyers are non-existent, but it's starting to look that way. All right, getting a yellow bar. Another possible trend change. It's just that sooner or later, you know there's got to be some profit taking going on here. Okay, I might try this one again. We're getting a trend change signal in the Falcon. I'm looking for a soft edge buy signal here on the Raptor. And we'll see whether they turn around and spank me on that. Okay, so here's the soft edge buy signal. And bear with me while I get a stop in. There. Okay, so the soft edge buy signal occurs when you've got a band which tends to be very wide most times, and you get this little itty-bitty retest of the extreme. In the Raptor, it tends to happen very quickly. Sometimes it will spread out a little bit further. It looks like in this instance we got a couple cases. The point is we're making a higher low. We're making a higher swing low. We anticipate the market to get up here to the hard edge of the band. That's our first profit objective. I've only got a single going in this one. Normally in the Raptor, I'll try to run two trades, one as a profit target, which we would have just hit our profit objective, and the other as a runner. But we'll see whether we can't ride out this swing. Oh, they're going to come back and tap me. Get going, you stickers. Oh, come on. Get up there. Where'd all the buyers go? Oh, darn. All right. Well, maybe they're not ready to buy yet. Here in the Falcon, we also got that trend change signal here on the Hawk. We're getting the first micro-macro cross. So, you know, if you're inclined, there you go. You got the opportunity to try to buy this up. And same thing, I'll try to run it out. I'll leave the break-even trigger in. Maybe we'll get a little luckier on this time, this attempt to rally. Come on. So again, all this activity around 4,200, this is going to be an important number for the next few days. I think 4,200, 4,220. These are numbers that seem to have been fairly influential today. Come on. All right, here comes the red bar buy. Last chance for the buyers. Oh, man. They're brutal today. All right, back into yellow bars. That's good. Here comes the green bar sell. Let's get the failure. Oh my gosh. That's twice they're flinching there now. Come on. Get on through. Just go. You know you want to. There's not even any structure through here, any candles that might suggest, hey, Eric, maybe you want to bring your stop up under here. Oh, thanks, Jim. Jim says the bank index and the transports and the Russells are all buying. Thanks for the encouragement. Oh, no. They're killing me here. Come on, you buyers. Show up already. Wow, the ranges are just so sideways and so small. Nobody wants to make any kind of commitment to this market. Oh, all right. That's enough. That's enough. They're just going to be uncooperative like this the rest of the day. The best trading was early on. From here on out, I think we're just going to see a sideways market. Obviously, the buyers don't have enough to try to rally into the gap, but they do have enough to keep the sellers from going any lower, which means more sideways trading. So I think we're going to close down the trading room. I doubt we're going to miss much today. If you are going to continue trading, you should continue to look for selling opportunities. versus buying opportunities. If the market makes any rally at all today, it's probably going to be short-lived, I'm guessing. But tomorrow should be a little bit better, I think, as this whole Brexit thing kind of settles into the trading psyche, and it becomes less important to what the markets think are going to happen next. All right, you guys, have yourselves a great day. I'll talk to you on Tuesday. Bye for now.